Alright, welcome back to Dead Money Trade. Today is April 3rd. We're going to do a little bit of a market recap today. For the S&P 500, or the SPY index, we did see some positive price action today. Jerome Powell spoke, and he does a great job of pumping the markets, but we also had a pretty big gap down starting the second quarter of this year, April 1st. And we talked about this on our last video. Every time we see a gap down, we have filled the gap since November. Okay, um, and really this whole year has just been a slow grind up. Where when we cross the 480 and mark new all-time highs, we make a new all-time high, slightly sell off, make a new all-time high, sell off, new all-time high, sell off, new all-time, well, never mind, not all-time high here, double top, sell off, but then new all-time high, huge gap up, sell off, new all-time high, sell off, new all-time high, sell off, didn't quite make an all-time high, got a lower high here, so we sold off, but guess what? We made a new all-time high again, sold off, new all-time high, and now, most recently, second quarter, we've sold off, and we are, you know, maybe still in the same regime where we make a new all-time high. Now, that's what I'm playing right now. I'm not gonna risk being contrarian until we see a couple things. So in the short term, I'm thinking. I mean, we did almost. Did we fill this gap? We practically filled the gap. Yeah, we filled the gap. We filled the gap today, um, and then we got a little bit of a sell-off going into the close. Um, so I'm thinking until I see otherwise that we are going to at least test the previous all-time high. Maybe we don't quite make it over, sell off, and then make a new all-time high. That would be bullish, the bullish scenario. Or we just straight up make a new all-time high and sell off. Now, what we'd want to be worried about is if we see a lower high and then we sell off and then we make another lower high. Okay, that would kind of be an indication of, okay, maybe the correction that is kind of, I think, overdue for this year is going to come. And I'm kind of hoping for that because I'll talk a little bit in a second what my long-term plan is. If that another scenario we could have is we do make an all-time high, and then the same thing kind of happens again where we try to breach that, make a lower high, make a no lower high, and then sell off, and we get like a correction. Now, I'm not going to, if we do get a kind of like a double top scenario or a lower high scenario, I'm not going to call for a major correction. I think that we don't really go past maybe let me open this up a little bit, maybe a 10% drop, 8% drop. I'm thinking that we can use the previous all-time high as support. Let me make this a little bit. Might need to go to the daily here. I'm thinking that we would use the previous all-time high as support. Okay, but this would be kind of a dramatic sell-off. But I'm thinking the previous all-time high would be support here. Maybe we don't make it all the way quite down there. We make like a higher low, a higher macro low, maybe a 3% drop. It's kind of crazy that we haven't had a huge sell-off here. But yeah, I'm thinking if we fail to make a new all-time high or make a double top or a slightly lower high, then once we start coming down maybe 5%, I'm gonna start looking for leaps or at least contracts that would expire early Q1 next year. Because my thoughts right now, because this trend is so bullish on higher time frames, I'm looking for a 1.618 on the previous all-time high to the previous macro low. and an extension up to the 1.618. Up here is when, I don't know, I'll probably start taking profit and start reducing market exposure. Not to say that it couldn't go up higher and maybe hit like 600, because market participants really love nice round numbers. But that's what I'm looking in the long term. I think that we could hit this 1.618 by the end of the year. Okay, because seasonality, the end of the year tends to be pretty bullish. So maybe something like this is what I'm thinking. Okay, now it's never that easy. So we'll see if that actually happens. But that's one scenario that I'm looking at, is I'm waiting to get a discount, quote unquote discount, um, before I start buying contracts that expire towards the end of the year or early next year. Um, and it could keep going on. I just think like recently the seasonality in the winter just seems to be really favoring the bulls. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my short term and 7-8 month outlook. Um, this is kind of the same thing with the QQQ. Oops, QQQ. Basically the NASDAQ. I'm thinking also, if we do put in a double top or lower high, we could use the previous all-time high as support, and same thing, look for continuation into the end of the year. I can't really explain why. Well, okay, I think why we're getting such a tight range to the upside here is that fund managers, market participants were really waiting on a recession and a correction, so they weren't in the market, and now they're kind of trying to force their way into this market. Job market looks good. I don't know if a lot of workers just left the workforce during the pandemic and we haven't been able to replace those workers. This year is also an election year, so that's also kind of why I'm favoring a bullish scenario going into the end of the year. Um, but yeah, we have earnings coming up next week, beginning of earnings, starting Q2. Q2 might be kind of boring. We might get that correction and then continuation. Uh, of course, it's not going to be a straight line up, but a 1.618 on the QQQs would put it at around 500, which is a nice round, even number, and I'm thinking we could hit that by the end of the year, the winter. What's going on? Let me draw. Oh, I gotta hold it down. Yeah, something like this, right? So, of course, it's not gonna be that easy, but just general thoughts. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Maybe comment down below if there's any other tickers you want me to look at in the future, so we can grow this channel. Some recent names that have hit the headlines: Tesla. Now, Tesla has been really bad. Like one of the biggest market cap stocks with the worst performance. It has lost its spot in the Mag 7. It's not even a. It doesn't even have a large weighting in the S&P 500 anymore. Now, long term, I think they have the edge on autonomous driving. In the short term, it seems like most people that wanted EVs have bought them. So right now, I'm kind of thinking that it might be ideal to start buying here, maybe DCAing. We had we flipped the 185 level as support. In 2022, it broke, came back up, broke again. Support, 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 and then now it has been flipped to resistance. Okay, we couldn't break it most recently. That's the most recent market action. So, you know, if you want to take a chance, I don't know if now, maybe now is not the best time to DC it. Maybe you could kind of see. I mean, if it tests it as resistance again, that's really bad. I would maybe get out and wait for it to settle in between 100 and 150. Um, yeah. So if you're buying this, I don't know. I really think it could drop. It could drop another 30% and still put in a higher low than 100. Uh, and just there's been some aggressive selling on this, aggressive distribution every time. I mean, this supply line up here has gone has been resistance since 2021, and it's touched it 3 times. Most recently, it got close another 3 times, so like 6 times, you know. Um, but in the short term, if it can break this resistance support again, run up, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of asking for a lot. It's rough. It fell recently. It gapped down because of delivery numbers, but you know, everyone's so bearish on it that can sometimes be a good contrarian signal to start buying. Um, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna get above 180 though. Not a lot of good things going for it. Now, a name that is still, I think this is the second highest market cap asset stock in the world. Apple. Apple made an all-time high right before the end of the year, and then has been selling off because of China sales. Um, they're also getting sued. Now there is some support here at 165. This is the previous low that it made in October. This could hold. I mean, this could hold and continue the uptrend. We'll just have to see. This is like, I think the worst performer other than Tesla. At least this though is still in the Mag 7 and still has a huge weighting in the SPY. I think second to Microsoft. So just wanted to show a quick look on Apple. Don't have too concrete thoughts on this. I mean, if I had to pick, I would say that this is going to hold a support. Maybe it gets a short rally up here back into the 180s, and then we'll just have to see is this previous 180 level, is it resistance? Who knows? Um, not too biased on one side on this one. Another one I really don't know what to think about is Nvidia. Nvidia has a much higher weighting in the S&P 500 now. We are kind of looks like it's reaching a peak on the negative momentum on the histogram here. So maybe it could start turning positive, and maybe this is a short-term bottom. If that is the case, I, believe it or not, could see a scenario where this runs up and tests $1,200. Okay, at least I think market participants at least want 1,000. It didn't get quite get 1,000. It got like 975. But the 4.236 on the fib would be close to 1,100. So maybe there's some more juice to squeeze. I don't know if Nancy is still holding her positions, but let's look at the monthly here. The monthly RSI has been, believe it or not, more overbought than it is right now. Man, tough to call. Tough to call on this one. I don't know if I don't know if I'd be bearish on it yet, unless you really wanted to be aggressive. But my experience, being aggressive on the bear side is a numbers game that you don't want to try to fight to win. Um, it did make a double top, but I could definitely see it testing at least one more time. Uh, Maybe it makes a lower high, and then you have kind of confirmation. The 4 hour looks like the histogram starting to curl green bullish. Yeah, and also on the daily. Um, and it's still in the bullish control zone. If it breaks below 50 on the RSI, that might get you a sell signal. But the last two times it's done this, they were kind of fake outs. And this is where I think Nancy bought her calls like around here. Um, so if you do get to like 30 on the RSI, you start becoming oversold. Might be a buying opportunity. This one's tough to call. Tough to call, but I wouldn't say go short yet. I think, especially if the market's going to continue higher until the end of the year, there might be still some juice left to squeeze. And then, let's see, there was a couple others I want to check out, see if we have time. Hood. Hood has been doing really well with crypto. They announced a stock buyback. Sorry, not stock buyback. They announced some new offerings, a 1% match on all brokerage deposits, and a credit card. It looks like it's kind of taking a breather here, but I might have just put in a higher low today. Or yesterday. Uh, Looks like it wants to go higher. Looks like it wants to go higher. I think it could at least come up and test 33. It looks good. Looks good to me. And some maybe longer term end of year targets could be 55.618, which is about a 2.5x from here. So I think Hood looks really good. You've confirmed that you are in an uptrend. You broke the downtrend, and now you're up. Let's see, PayPal. PayPal has been so slow. So slow. Let's see, have you confirmed an uptrend here? You're really trying. You're really trying. You just put in a higher high slightly for the year. Let's get another higher high. Let's get another higher high. I think if we can get above 76, that would be really bullish. It's a slow mover, but it does look like it wants to keep pushing up. Looks like you might start to get some negative momentum on the histogram though. But dang, it looks good, doesn't it? Looks pretty good. This might just keep going, just continue being green. So PayPal, not bad, not bad. It is so beat down. Oh my god. Oh my god. It is so beat down because of rivals like Apple Pay and Square. But I know a lot of people that use Venmo. Now I don't. When I use Venmo, I don't pay fees on it, so I don't know how much money they really make from that. But the the 0.236 would be $110 conservative target. Maybe we can get there by year end. I don't know though. This is a weekly chart. At least 80 by year end is what I'm thinking. It's 80. Yeah, the momentum. I mean, the RSI looks good. RSI has been making higher lows on the weekly. Yeah. Let's see. Is any other ones? I know we checked save yesterday. Save. Save gonna save us? Yeah, I had some green. I had some green today. Not too bad. Not too bad on save. Some people are playing the settlement news. Not too bad on save. And then last but not least, let's look at Bitcoin, since that what got us to start this channel. What is this fib? Erase this. Bitcoin is kind of stalling out here. Time will tell if this is a higher low or buyers are exhausted and want to see the price move lower. I am still leaning bullish. I think really conservative. It could at least come up and test the 70K level. But of course, I want much higher. And if it can break this, that would be really great. This demand line up here. Sorry, supply line. Yeah, I mean this histogram looks like it's about to turn green, and if it does turn green, we should get some good price action. I think really though, the fireworks are not going to start until we clear through the halving and people get tired of this, because I think too many people are looking at it. People are just not sure. I mean, the run up was really strong, went up really high, really fast. Looks like it might turn positive on the daily. You might get a daily RSI buy signal. You know, what you wouldn't want to see, maybe to exit your position, you'd want to at least it to come up this test to 70K. But yeah, if it did that, that would suck. But as long as it made a higher low, it would still be bullish. So we'll just have to wait and see. I think it's buy the dip on Bitcoin. If it comes down to 60K, really buy the dip. That's what I'm thinking here. Okay, does that wrap up my thoughts? I think it does for today. Again, please like and subscribe. Let me know if you have any tickers you want me to look at. And best of luck out there. Stay safe and make some money. Peace out.